We're live.
Hello, Live Connection. We are here for the Live Connection number 30 podcast.
Did you just say hello to ourselves? You said hello, Live Connection.
We're all Live Connection.
All of us? All of the viewers? Or are you saying hello to the people on the couch?
Let's cover it after.
You know what I realized we didn't do? We didn't do an audio mic check.
No, we did. As you guys were talking, I looked at it all.
Peter's just that good.
All
nice
right.
intro, Evan.
Podcast number 30.
Podcast 30. This is Matthew. This is Jarrod. My name is Evan. This is Jack. And behind the camera, except on the single camera, we have Peter because we like to keep him isolated from the rest of us. He smells. And today is conversations. But what the hell did Jack say? What did he interrupt me with?
You said hello, Live Connection.
Oh yeah, okay. Have you never heard like whenever you have a company or like a brand, I guess. We have hats. Go buy them. DM this man on Twitter to buy the hat.
On Twitter.
On Twitter or
maybe
wherever.
On literally every platform but Twitter.
Everywhere but Twitter. Don't go to Twitter. Anyways, like for example, like Rooster Teeth or any of those companies, if they're going to introduce a company to a video, they're going to say, oh, hey, Rooster Teeth. Like, what's up, Rooster Teeth? Like when we stream on Fandom Wire, we say, hey, Fandom Wire. Like, it's not like we're talking to the soulless companies.
I've never heard Rooster Teeth open up a podcast and be like, "Hey, Rooster Teeth, how are you doing?"
Have you ever gone to a freaking concert and the artist is like, "What's up, Calgary?" Well, you think they're talking to the city?
Yeah, but they're
not. They're not.
They're like,
hey,
Calgary.
but they're not talking about themselves. They're not like,
the
hey.
difference is Nickelback doesn't get up on stage and be like, "What's up, Nickelback?"
How is that different? This would be like, hey, Internet, how are you doing? And then we are Live Connection.
No,
that is the equivalent of Nickelback saying, hey, Calgary.
We're a group of people, and we associate you watching. If you enjoy us and you want to like and subscribe and follow and all that other good stuff, you are now associated with Live
And
Connection.
also, apparently, according to Evan's words, you're part of Live Connection now.
Yeah,
So
you are
thanks,
part.
thanks for the free labor.
Thanks for the free labor.
Would it not be being a part of Live Connection if you're part of their community?
They'd be Live Connectioners.
I don't
Yeah,
agree. Yeah.
But you guys already voted that one down. I tried to get that one
We are
going.
Live Connection, but we've connected them. They are not Live Connection.
I hate this.
They're part of the Live Connection family.
Yeah.
Yeah, but can you not short form that to just hey Live Connection?
No, because then you're talking to us.
No, I'm not. I never talked to you, Jarrod.
Your only
Evan.
example you gave was a band saying "Hey Calgary," which is not the name that the band is called, and yet you said that that Jack and I saying that is different than us saying "Hey Live Connection."
What do you think happens if like the band is one of the bands that named themselves after a place? Like, what happens if Boston is playing in Boston? Do you think they go up on stage and like, "What's up, Boston?"
They're like, who are they talking to? Are they talking to us?
And then when the crowd's like, "Yeah," they're like, "Shut up! I was talking to the other guys."
Wow, what a great start to LC podcast number 30.
Oh, 30. Isn't that exciting? All right, well, I'll lead us off with an interesting story.
I'm still debating if I'm going to leave the podcast right now.
I was actually wondering. It kind of looks like we ruined Evan's day a little bit.
I just ruined Matt's day a little bit too.
We've been talking a lot about interrupting each other lately, and like me personally, it's like my biggest pet peeve on planet Earth. Actually, I was gonna tell you guys.
And yet you did it twice to me, right there.
Hey,
listen, I do it by accident, but when other people do it to me, it's an actual offense.
It's a slight against your character.
Exactly.
We're trying to offend you whenever we do it to you.
Your faults are accidents, but anyone else's accidents are their faults.
Well said.
Precisely. Okay, that reminded me of two things. The first
Weird
thing.
velocities.
Okay, you ruined it.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys watch the H3H3 podcast at all?
No.
I used to, but not
yeah,
really.
like it's like one of like two podcasts I listen to consistently, and I do really like it because it's cool to have like celebrities and YouTubers kind of come on and talk like normal people. But there's a 3-hour episode with them and Steve-O, and it is impossible to watch because it just makes me so irate because they interrupt each other constantly. Because like if Steve-O is about to get interrupted, he will just I got a phone call. If Steve-O's about to get interrupted, he'll just keep talking. He'll like stutter on the exact word that he was on, wait for whatever they were gonna say to say their piece, and then just keep going. And then Ethan will just like keep yelling and try to get over them, and it's like, oh, it's the most infuriating thing to listen to.
Podcast.
Who even cares
I have-
about Steve-O in 2019?
I have a
he's-
question.
He wants to save the whales, man.
I have a deep question for
He's-
Matthew.
Yes.
big he's a big,
How do you differentiate YouTubers from real people? are YouTubers not real people? Because you said that I love it when they go and talk like real people. So, so I want to.
what he's going for.
I wasn't
there.
even going.
I want to know.
Dude.
I want to know. Like, are we not real people now that we're on YouTube?
Oh, it's
we're
going to be
not
one of these
YouTubers.
podcasts,
We've
isn't it?
ascended.
Have you ever seen
not YouTubers,
PewDiePie in the real world? Like on this earth, have you seen his literal human form?
I never
walking
saw
around the
Socrates once. Is he real?
place? No, come on, it's a question. Answer. Have you ever seen PewDiePie in the flesh?
No.
Have you ever seen PewDiePie in the flesh?
Well,
Has
I don't
anybody
know.
here
Is
ever
it,
seen?
Is it PewDiePie with legs or without legs?
So, that,
Those
so
are
then,
very
then my
different
statement's
people.
correct. Then we are not real people.
Yeah, that's right. Well, have
not
any of our
YouTubers.
viewers seen us in the flesh? Can any of our viewers actually prove that we're not just specters living inside their computer
Drew
screens
can.
on the internet?
All right,
Yeah,
dial
see,
it
there you
back a
go.
notch there, Nietzsche.
So
If you want to prove our
so-
existence, come find us at.
Let's put a stop
let
to
me just
this
look at the
argument
skip
right
the
now.
dishes address we use. No. So then, couldn't you argue that every one of us is just real people?
No. That YouTuber that I write hateful comments in their section, they're not real. They can't feel the hurt.
That's the whole basis of the internet, pretty
Exactly.
much.
Yeah.
No one knows who you are. You're not real to them, so you can say whatever mean thing you want to
Exactly.
I'm an asshole ghost. That's what I am when I'm on the internet. I'm just a ghost who's an asshole, basically.
That's my defining characteristic.
them. Ass specter.
Anyways, so did you guys hear that there was a piece of art that sold for some ridiculous amount of money? Like, I'm gonna
Oh, it was $120,000.
120,000. I heard it was 160.
That doesn't seem like a ridiculous amount of money for a piece of art.
Okay,
it was a
because
banana
there's,
taped
like-
to the wall.
it was
Are
literally.
you serious?
It was literally a banana taped to the wall, duct taped to the wall.
Okay, that might be
And it was
absurd for that,
insane.
but I'm just thinking of like when you go look at some of the paintings that are like millions of dollars, like 100,000
Yeah,
doesn't
this
seem-
wasn't one of those.
There was no paint. The artist sold 3 of them. Sold 2 for $120,000 and 1 for $150,000. And one of the people that bought it, they ate the banana, and they called it performance art.
That makes it even more valuable. The banana that was eaten is more valuable.
Hey, wait,
do you understand that?
Peter, pull up the article.
Can we just agree that there's a lot of absurd art in this world? Like we have a blue ring in Calgary that they call art.
Hey,
It's
that's
literally a
so
circle.
Yeah, but like, okay, so I might know a little bit about this.
Uh-oh.
There is a big movement in the art world these days where it's like, you know, several years ago, it was all about simple art that's just kind of like, it's silly, but you kind of go for it. Like a classic example, which isn't really, it doesn't exist, but like similar to like if you ever saw 102 Dalmatians or 101 Dalmatians Patches London Adventure or something like that. Cruella de Vil gets obsessed with a piece of art that's just like a white portrait with a black spot in the middle of it.
Right.
So like that's like the art where it's like it's so simple, it's so like dramatic because you know it's simple. But now current day art is literally having art that makes fun of that era of art. And that's literally what this era of art's at, which is how you get this thing going on right here.
Abstract.
It's the most expensive banana in the world.
How do you? Here's a question. How is he going to? The people who didn't eat the banana, how are they going to display this artwork?
Oh, I don't know if it's true, but I did read that the artist said that you can just replace the banana.
What?
Oh. Well, you need to provide the duct tape.
Could I not just
can buy-
recreate my own thing for a lot less money and just put a
because
cheap
it's not
banana?
but it's not a basil banana. It's not the basil art piece, which is where art gets its value from. It's from the artist. It's not the art
Right.
itself.
So you're saying that if I got a little white frame with a nice little kind of, creative edge and everything, and I taped a banana to the middle of it and tried to sell it for $120,000, it would not go?
Without a certificate of authenticity that says that it's a basil piece of work, with which he put on the certificate the little asterisks that you can replace the banana. then no, it won't sell for anything.
So does that mean that anytime any of us, for any reason, decides to tape a banana to the wall, we're actually infringing copyright?
Yo, let's like cover a wall of bananas.
So here, like, when has the meme gone too far? Like when you're looking at simple art, I get what you're saying. Like some of the new art's making fun of older art, but it's like, when does that meme become too much? Where you're like, oh, I took this broken plastic spoon and I taped it to this piece of 2x4. This is gonna sell for $6 billion on the market right now.
But like, it's not even like they're purposely like doing it because they think it's gonna be funny or anything. It's like actually like making fun of that era of art is art and it's beautiful. No, it's not.
Is it?
It's not funny. It's beautiful.
What you need to understand is that people who are into modern art have too much time, too much money, too much drugs, and just do not function in society, like as far as I can tell. And they're just really, really strange. And it's fine because they stay in their bubble and it doesn't actually impact us in any way. If they want to spend $120,000, pardon me.
That's way too little.
On a banana duct taped to a wall. There is not a goddamn thing we can do about it. And I've had this conversation so many times because I don't know art history. I don't know art very well, but I know a banana duct taped to the goddamn wall probably doesn't qualify.
No,
Not without a certificate of
Oh my god. It's like, what would you do if you had a friend who went and just spent $129,000 on a fucking banana taped to a piece of paper?
I'd ask them for a slice of that banana.
Yeah, that man's in a shit. Like what, $160,000?
Yeah, that's some process.
If I had a friend that was like that, I'd also ask him to give me a small loan of $129,000, and I'll give him a macaroni art that I made in elementary school.
I'd ask him to sub to Live Connection.
You know, I'm going to outdo this fancy artist folk guy. I'm going to tape 2 bananas to a wall. And get this, it's going to be the same strip of tape to put both bananas on. Art.
That's
No.
impossible.
No,
Do you think that's impossible? I'm here to
impossible. That
defy
will not-
reality.
But those bananas will not stay on the wall, and not because it's physically impossible, because it's just wrong.
it's abstractly not
Hey, Peter.
possible.
Speaking of art, do you know what game those guns come from that are in Peppa Pig's hands?
Yeah, it's the sniper rifle from Fallout 3.
I was asking Peter.
Wait, is it?
Yes.
Oh.
Where do you see
So a
Peppa
Fallout
Pig?
fanboy
It's your
must have made
background.
It's
this.
your background.
Oh, up there. I was
Yeah.
like, which
Yeah.
TV?
Are you going to bring Peppa up?
Yeah, you
I
better
can
bring
bring
Peppa
Peppa
up
up.
for this because now. Yeah, there we go. There's Peppa.
I actually initially thought they were the intervention from Modern Warfare 2 because that's like the meme sniper
That-
rifle, but
Gotcha.
I was wrong. I'm glad Jack answered before I could ignorantly open my mouth.
I'm sorry.
I wanted him
Jared.
to ignorantly open his mouth.
You know, this is art.
This is art.
This is beautiful.
This is
How
really
much
good.
do you want to buy? How much would you pay for this as like a canvas art?
Being the wealthy student I am, I would request if I could get it for free.
Do you know how much? I didn't even make it. I'm just
just
representing them.
I'll pay $120,000 for the art of Peter giving this piece of art to Jarrod for free.
In a weird way, Peter is kind of like an art gallery.
Can you just
for
give me
us, displaying these new
$129,000
memes
instead?
every week.
Not what I'm
Yeah.
paying for.
In a sense.
How about you pay Peter $129,000 and then to see him give me a free $129,000?
That's pretty.
No,
meta.
I lose in that situation. No.
No, you break even.
Yeah, but why would I even bother then?
No, but I'm just trying to appeal to
You're just
Evan's
trying to get
sense of-
$129,000.
Yeah, but that's fine. It was either $129,000 or what was the other one? $120,000 to give me this for free.
I just want performance art. That's all I'm looking for in my life.
I'm an
I don't
actor.
care what happens to you. I don't care what happens to Peter. I don't care what happens to the world, all right? As long as I'm entertained for a fraction of a second, that's all I care about, and I'll spend millions to do it.
I can contort my body into a weird shape and then put some googly eyes on my feet and like puppeteer them for you.
Love it. 1 billion.
Throwback
Find
to
another
throwback to
footage
LC
for that.
Podcast 27.
No, put it away.
The best part is like that video. Peter, is that video coming out this Wednesday?
The
The where you isolated just the puppet stuff?
No, that's just sitting there. Whatever you want to do with it. I don't know.
I thought Peter was edited. I thought you.
No,
edited.
that's Evan. Evan's doing that.
Oh.
It's up there. It's there.
Yeah, it just
I just didn't know if we wanted to put it out or not. I don't want it to be like a Wednesday video.
I think it should be Wednesday. I think we should highlight it.
Well, it's only like 2.
I think it should.
just
I think we
toss
should
it out
just.
there as a
We should
bonus
just
thing.
scrap the intro video we made and just put the puppet video
I
as
think
our.
we should see if someone will buy that performance art video for $129,000.
Let's auction it off at the next like art fair.
It's only valuable though because us Live Connection recorded it.
We're gonna
and-
have a seal of authenticity. We're gonna make it.
gotta love it.
That's the thing about this art though, is that you're actually just paying for you're paying for the name, but you're physically just paying for that certificate. That's all you're paying for. You're not actually paying for the art.
How does that work?
Like if I if I took this coaster of Mario, Peter, you want to zoom in on this bad boy?
No, I don't have that capability right
Okay,
now.
so Peter sucks at his job.
Just get up and go up to the camera.
If
for
I
that
was going to
dedicated.
use this coaster and take it to an art fair, and then some really big artist comes there and looks at my coaster and says, "That is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life." Obviously, I free use. I'll write my name in the bottom right corner or something, so then it's officially my artwork. But like, I walked into that art fair with this piece of coaster art being 10 cents, all right, or whatever it is, free. I stole it from Peter. So, the second that artist even maybe considers buying my art for a certain value, my art piece is now worth that amount of value, and someone will definitely pay for it.
Can I give a better example than that?
What?
Okay, think of any famous artist if they painted you look at Leonardo da Vinci, right?
Sure.
Who?
If he made a piece of art, it doesn't matter if it was a fucking macaroni that was sitting vertical on a piece of paper.
I'd buy that macaroni.
People would pay absurd amounts of money because Leonardo da Vinci made it.
It was a study of Leonardo da Vinci. He studied the figure of a dried piece of pasta
Yeah.
that he saw on his kitchen counter. It's a still life done
Yeah.
in pencil, done by the master himself.
It's actually his part of something he used as an experiment to check the differences in pressure on either side of a tube with no pressure inside of it. So it's actually scientific as well. So that adds value to it.
Wow.
Thank you, scientist Evan.
Vacuum noodle, they called it.
It's a masterpiece of our time. Mona
Also
Lisa,
Evan's
forget
mouth.
about it.
But like I guess for anything in our existence, we give value to anything, right? Like the idea of currency is a human
Construction.
invention. So, like
Both-
for
both
art,
really good
like
terms.
it's only as expensive as our society gives it, but more specifically for like current day art, it's only as expensive as like certain art names will give it.
Well, isn't it
But-
only as expensive as demand makes it?
Yes, that's
Well,
the correct
demand,
way.
but the demand is isolated to a small group of people that have millions of dollars and are considered the big names in art.
Are you making
in the art
assumptions about the art industry?
world. No, this is literally how it works.
Yeah.
If someone has a big name in art and they paint something or buy something, that piece of art is now considered priceless. It is. So
I don't
that's
know
why
about
these bananas are
priceless.
going crazy, because some crazy guy decided to buy it.
Yeah, and there's only so many like really really famous artists whose works actually drive massive amounts of money based on their name alone. Not everybody is an Andy Warhol or a Pablo Picasso, right? So, I don't know. Art is weird.
Yeah, it's like I'm on like one of our local like buy and sell groups on Facebook, and there's one guy who like does a lot of like abstract original art, and he tries to sell it for like $500 a piece for like a smaller than you'd like piece of art, and everyone in the community just rips into him all the time.
I was talking to my sister about this because she's huge into metalwork. She got ranked like 3rd in the world for metalwork, but there's a huge thing in at least that side of art where they're having an issue with that, where you'll have super high quality art, but because the artist isn't known, it automatically is devalued, even though it's like you could have someone that uses a 3D printer to print a cast of something, and then that's how they do it, versus someone who like hand bends everything, and it's way better quality, way better material used, and it's still less value than the person who did the 3D printing.
Would you compare that to like our content? how it's
high
very,
quality, but no one wants to watch it.
but no one. It just doesn't have the exposure it needs.
I think honestly, yeah. Like it's like in all seriousness, because we've had quite a few people that have said our quality's there, we just don't have the exposure.
So you at home can change that. Share this video with your friends and family if you like us.
Any video. Share any
Share
live
any of
connection
our
video
videos.
that you enjoy.
Actually, specifically this one.
If you do, you're an art lover. Understand that.
We love art. And you
Art
know what?
Lovers Podcast.
They probably won't watch this hour-long video, so send them one of our short, sweet ones too.
You know what also is art, and who is an artiste?
Oh,
Ryan
Subway.
Reynolds
Does he make
is
art?
an artiste of modern day. And he is bringing out a movie that he has said is his favorite movie he has ever acted in, according to IGN.
Source IGN.
I started reading the article. That's why.
Deadpool star calls his new film a modern day Back to the Future. Okay.
We'll
Listen,
see.
if the actor for Deadpool says his favorite movie to have acted in, I feel like there's a reason to at least give it the trailer a watch.
I mean, it's a good sign, but I mean, Ryan Reynolds also isn't a director, so.
Is he directing it? Did it say that?
No, that was just us.
Well, I'm saying, but he
No,
doesn't
Directed
have,
by Sean Levy.
he doesn't direct, and he's not a reviewer.
So it does
Yeah,
he
but
not
they-
do
but
art?
there's- But does
Anyone
anyone
isn't like the end all be all.
Okay, but for us, does anyone actually like listen to the high end? Like, if you go on to Rotten Tomatoes, do you look at the critic side or do you look at the people?
Yeah, why would you value a director's input on whether or not it's a great movie? Most people care about like what critics and the general
people.
consensus
Well, that's
is.
what I said. He's not a director or sorry, I meant to say critic, not reviewer. But
I don't know. When I look at
he's
Rotten
just- he's
Tomatoes,
just an actor. Like obviously his word is like, yeah, it's good, but like.
well, usually when I
he's
go
just
on
an actor and he's promoting it as well. So
when I go on Rotten Tomatoes, but he didn't say that about Deadpool.
yeah, but that's because like Deadpool kind of brought like Ryan Reynolds was still big before Deadpool, but Deadpool kind of shot Ryan Reynolds up into like the A-list actor category.
Do you have facts to back these?
I don't have facts, but I have like my opinion.
So Ninja, Jacksepticeye, and Pokemon are all going to be in the movie. I'm looking at an article right now.
They didn't contact us.
I wonder if Mixer's gonna be involved.
Maybe we'll get to be on the B list for the next movie.
Okay, let's hit
The
play
follow
on
up to
this.
Free Guy.
This is actually the real YouTube rewind.
Oh wow, off to a great start.
Disney.
Oh my
okay.
god.
Disney.
Oh,
well,
yes.
now this is a
Good, bad.
Is this PUBG? That might be Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
Mondays, am I right, Joe? You said it, guy. Yeah. Don't have a good day. Have a great day. Everybody down on the ground! Hey, bud, you ever think that there's got to be more? More than what? The stuff we do day after day. Being shot at? Run over? Taken hostage? Everybody down on the ground! Today's gonna be different. Hi. God, this isn't you. You don't do this, man. Maybe I do. Phew, this is scary. He's just resting.
In pieces. That man is dead.
He's so sleepy.
But it's just a squeeze me.
Wow. Is this what recreational drugs feel like?
Guy, this world, it's a video game. And it's full of bad guys.
I'm a rule breaker. I'm a rattle chicka snaker.
We need you to be the good guy.
I'm sorry. Oh, God. Wow.
Giddy up!
Is that a Glock in your pocket?
No,
What?
it's 2 Glocks.
2 bananas.
I'm not gonna be the good guy. I'm gonna be the great guy.
Okay. Well, enjoy your lifetime supply of virginity. Here you go.
Now that is worth money.
Art.
And I'll pay money to go see that in the theater.
Ah,
That looks really
another
art.
art.
Yeah, I honestly haven't gone to the movie theater in so long, so I'm stoked for some of the movies that are going to be coming up.
It does look good. I saw the trailer earlier today, and I actually liked it the second time around more. So, don't know. I don't know. I just am skeptical with movies. Like, I don't know. In general,
Go on.
I'm just skeptical with movies always. So,
I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine, but to me, it just kind of looks really, really dumb.
Well, I think it's going just for the pure comedic factor. Like, I don't think it's not supposed to be like. There's not a lot of comedies that are blockbuster masterpieces. They are usually ridiculous and yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely GTA and Fortnite is the main inspiration for like their video game world.
I wonder, do we need movies to give us meta commentary on video games, though?
I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, if we got it, might as
that
well
necessary?
enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if they're gonna do, because I know a few of his movies. He enjoys breaking that fourth wall and talking to the audience. So I wonder if he's gonna do it in this one too. They didn't show it, but
Well, it's more. This seems like it's more of like a breaking his own worldview of like, the Truman Show esque.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like it's literally the premise. Like he's an NPC in a video game, and,
Yeah.
and he gains like sentience somehow.
By breaking his code. WreckIt Ralph. What's that say?
Drew wants a hat.
Oh, really? Nice.
Oh, sick.
Drew, we'll get you one right away.
Drew boy, you're gonna get yourself a hat.
That's gonna be a nice hat. On the topic of Fortnite, Peter, do you want to crack open that other link I sent you? This is super weird.
What is going on with Fortnite these days? Chapter 2.
Well, I honestly haven't seen anything about it since the trailer. I thought the Chapter 2 trailer was sweet when it dropped, however long ago that was, but really haven't heard much of it since. I guess because this Chapter 2 is supposed to be like a big new phase that they're
But
not
none
going
of
to
it-
update it for some time. But no, this is what I wanted to show you guys. I saw this ad like the other day, and then I saw it again just now. They're doing another in-game live event, but they're premiering a scene from Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
In the
In the
game?
game.
How does that work?
Because you know how like Marshmallow did the concert?
No,
He did a
No, he didn't.
concert in the Fortnite.
he also
What?
he
In
al-
the Fortnite?
did
Peter?
did you
The
did you know
Fortnite.
did you know that Marshmallow is an American Ninja Warrior? He completed one of the American Ninja Warrior courses with his freaking marshmallow hat on.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not
That's
even
actually
joking.
sick because those courses are hard. My family watches that show a ton.
I was actually blown away. I was like, that's impressive. Can we
So
we
wait.
should find that video as well, Peter.
How do these live events work? So do you just drop into the game and like you try to go watch it, but then you just get killed because like no one, or is it like the black hole event, how it's just like scripted, like you go into the game at a certain time and it just puts you in front of that whether you like it or not?
It's hard to say. I think like the way that they kind of frame it, because they did the same with the marshmallow one. I guess we'll know it for a second when we actually know we're watching.
Yeah,
the Ninja
what's
Warrior thing.
what's the marshmallow thing even look like?
Well, I assume what it is you go to, because they specify an area in the game, like in that ad they did it. So I assume if you go to that place, the event is just happening and it's like a real time thing. So it's the timing is based on like where, like if you're in a game at that time.
So also like no one's gonna be able to watch it because everyone will just be killing each other at that time.
I assume it won't be like that. I assume they'll like neutralize guns when you're in there or something.
No, because then that's unfair to everyone else playing the game.
Well, I mean,
It has to be scripted. Like it has to be everyone that tries to play the game at a certain time is gonna get thrown into this area,
Yeah.
and just
Well-
gonna be able to walk around and do nothing. And then there's gonna be a giant screen.
well, maybe
or
they
something.
can join it as if it's like an alternate game mode.
Do you guys think that Marshmallow's one guy or multiple dudes who like rotate?
I mean, I don't see any.
I
like,
think
why
I
wouldn't
am
it be?
woefully unprepared to talk about anything that's happened this podcast so far because I don't know jack shit about Ryan Reynolds or video game movies. I don't know anything about Fortnite. I don't know anything about Marshmallow. I don't know anything about modern art. This is like ticking all the boxes for me.
Wait, why are we watching American Ninja Warrior? We should be
because we're
I wanna
watching
see
Marshmallow.
the Fortnite thing.
We'll watch the Fortnite.
You're
thing after.
such a nerd.
You're the one that wants to watch a marshmallow run. Think about that sentence.
That's a man in a helmet, Evan.
Yeah, that's a man in the helmet. He's not
His name
actually a
is
marshmallow.
though.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you telling me that Dead Mouse wasn't actually a dead mouse?
actually,
Oh yeah, Dead Mouse.
Peter, you bring up a really good point. There's literally no reason to believe that there's not just like an actual American Ninja Warrior under that helmet. Like,
Yeah, but like, if you were Marshmallow, would you let other people be you?
well, it depends if it's like an agreement, right? Like how Aaron Hunter, the author of the Warriors book, is actually like a bunch of.
Is it so absurd that maybe a guy who makes music happens to like fitness as well and can probably do this course?
I mean,
Is that such an absurd concept?
but-
I don't think it's very absurd, since he probably has millions of dollars and probably needles of spare time if he wants, and can just train people to do the thing to prepare himself.
Yeah,
to
if
do
you're
it.
Marshmallow, any publicity is good publicity. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't you get somebody?
Yeah, if he fell, he's literally doing it with a helmet that he has 2 eye holes that he's trying to do this course through.
This guy's
If he
literally
fell, you
making
can
this-
easily.
He's making this look so easy.
The whole time he makes it look easy. Like this is one of the intro level courses, but still, he has a freaking marshmallow helmet on.
I would have died by now.
yeah. I mean, like, you're right, Jarrod. It's not unreasonable to think that he could be capable of that, but it's also due to the fact that it's just a character and the person underneath the suit is completely disguised. It's not unreasonable to think that there could possibly be multiple people that just represent that character.
Yeah, but I think that's also American Ninja Warrior would probably have a say in it, being like, hey, like Marshmallow, we're not, because like, you know, they want to keep up the namesake of their course, right? So they're not just gonna let Marshmallow trick them, right, into having someone do the course for him and have it under their name.
Yeah, because it doesn't.
Absolutely they would.
But him completing it doesn't. Is it if he failed or just him being there is publicity to them. Whether he makes it through the course or not wouldn't impact their views. Of course.
Yeah, but aren't they trying to like make an image that the course is also really hard, and that only a select few people will be able to do it?
Yeah, that is
So
what they
doesn't
go
that
for.
kind of go against what their mission is, to have Marshmallow come up to them and be like, listen, I want to be on this show, but like I'm going to get some dude that can actually do your course to play as me. Like if I was American Ninja Warrior, I'd be like, no, absolutely
If I
not.
was, I would be absolutely put on the helmet and give us some more views. Give us good ratings.
It depends on what their values are as a company, right?
Their values as a company, as a media company, are to make money at all costs.
The only reason I would say that I don't think they would do that is because I don't think American Ninja Warrior needs help getting views.
Are you sure though? Because Marshmallow is very popular with kind of like a younger crowd, and especially since he has like a really heavy association with Fortnite. Like it's not unreasonable to think that, you know, some kid will go up to his parents and be like, "Oh my God, Marshmallow's gonna be on American Ninja Warrior tonight. Can we watch?" And mom's like, "Okay, we guess we'll watch the show." And now she's a fan of American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not unreasonable at all.
I get that that's not unreasonable, but like I also think that companies, not every company is a shell, like a hollow shell, and only is thinking about money.
So here-
like
here's-
if they've designed this course to challenge people, they must have some desire to like keep that challenge towards people, and they want to keep, like, if you complete the course, they want it to be valuable, right? They want it to mean something. They don't want it just to mean nothing.
I
So
think
how do
you're
you think this
absolutely
works?
wrong, but I don't want to keep talking about it.
I don't know. It's like musicians. Like, do you think every musician comes out with an album just because they want to make more money? Like,
You can't even prove that this guy like makes his own music. You don't know who's underneath that. Hi, Graydon.
the guy absolutely like whatever they
but what-
absolutely makes his own
You
music.
can't prove that.
Yeah, but you can't
You
prove
can't
he
prove
doesn't.
anyone makes their own music.
I absolutely can. I can prove a lot of people make their own music.
But at the same time, as
You
much
can't
as you
prove
can,
it any more likely than this.
as much as we can't prove that he makes his own music, we also can't prove he doesn't.
No, yeah, exactly.
So it's, but you could say that again for a lot of artists.
What's-
Maybe not every artist, but you could say that for a lot of artists in almost every industry.
Well, what goes further than like just literally having the song track say by Marshmallow? like obviously then Marshmallow made it, or the brand made it, whatever it is.
I just think it was pretty interesting that a guy like that loves that show so much, and I thought it was pretty cool that he was representing the athletic world in a sedentary group of individuals.
Yeah,
That's why I was very fascinated in that video.
All well and good. I just don't. I think there's more to it than meets the eye, especially with mass media in this day and age. I think you have to have a little bit more of a cynical outlook on things.
Yeah, but like, what does sorry, I'm gonna butcher this, but cynicism, is that the way?
That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, what would cynicism do for you in this case? Like, who cares?
It doesn't do
like,
anything.
It's still entertaining people. It still means something to people, and there's still clearly some sort of love and effort being put into the music. So, what the hell does it matter at the end of the day?
They've also had a few
That's
huge.
not really the argument I'm trying to make, though. Is the thing.
They have also had a lot of other big names that are as popular in different industries that have been on the show and haven't made it through the course.
Well, and that's so I'm talking more about like just the music in general. Who cares who's making the music as long as it's speaking to people?
We're having
and, like,
a couple different
people are
conversations
paying for it.
here.
Well, I know that's where Jack's.
I'm
Jack's
purely referring to the American
Yeah, I
Ninja
know.
Warrior. I'm saying I think it was Marshmallow. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I mean,
Yeah.
fair enough. If it wasn't, good for them. They just fooled a whole bunch of people. If it was,
Yeah.
that's pretty sweet. He just a bunch of people that are into gaming and stuff are now watching a guy do activity, which is not a bad thing because it is an issue in this day and age with sedentary activity.
Yeah, I think to kind of pull what both of you are saying together, like it's not unreasonable to think that maybe it is someone playing it, but it doesn't really. It's not really a bad thought. Like it doesn't necessarily make a difference whether it is a professional athlete or Marshmallow in there or not. But like having that kind of cynical, more critical look to media is important in situations like when you go on Facebook and you see somebody from Houston, Texas during a flood say, "Oh my God, there's a shark in the water," and like it becomes a viral picture because apparently the flooding in Houston was so bad that a shark got into the waters. Until you actually zoom in on the image and realize that it's the most poorly photoshopped shark you've ever seen. The stuff like that is where you have to kind of exercise cynicism.
No, it's just well, Matt hits the nail on the head perfectly well because these massive media corporations that control these massive properties are trying to pull the wool over your eyes a lot of the time and increase their own ratings and make more money. It doesn't matter if it's a record label, it doesn't matter if it's a television company, it doesn't matter if it's Disney or some other massive property. They are trying to help their brand, and they'll do that in whatever way they can. If they can, have a bunch of people put out a bunch of EDM music and have a dude in a helmet or multiple people in a helmet perform it, then that's what they'll do if it's making money. I'm not saying that is what's happening because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's both ways to look at it. Like you have the corporations that want to make their money, but you still have people in positions like that will have like the integrity to try to just put out their best foot forward. Like Quentin Tarantino, like he makes his movies when he wants to make them and how he wants to make them, and he refuses to just he's not really much of a sellout when it comes to like his movies. Yeah. So like there's people in the craft that sure are still making a crap ton of money, but they're doing it with passion and they're doing it the way they want to do it, and they're not. I mean, most of the time they're not doing weird ass shit like this. So I think in both perspectives, it's like, yeah, you can think that it's Marshmallow or you can think it's not Marshmallow. Both are very likely, but I mean, it depends on the glass that you're looking at, pretty much. I think that's what it comes down to: glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah. It is a kind of a weird time that we live in with media and stuff, right? Like not really being able to trust a lot of sources that you get, and the fact that people are so desperate for clicks that they'll report on things in a very specific way, and it's all very twisted. If you looked at the way the news and media operated in say 2000 and then looked at it in 2020, there's such a kind of a grotesque difference in the way things are run now.
It's true for like all of human history, ever since the
Yeah.
idea of cynicism started from philosophers.
Yeah.
Do we?
What's that?
Oh.
Okay. Is it how long is it? All right.
Okay, so what this is? Oh, good job, Peter. Good job, Peter. Thanks a lot,
It's muted.
Peter. How did you fall for that, and why did you?
I
make
didn't
us fall.
fall.
For it?
I did this.
I mean, I saw it on Peter's monitors. Like that kind of looks like the beginning of Never Gonna Give You Up.
I was
Okay, can you show
I
me
was trying
just
to hide
this
it.
concert a little bit? Just like I don't need sound. Just turn the sound off. I don't care.
Yeah,
But I
I'm
just
actually
want to
Wait,
I
what?
just
The
wanna see
concert
what it looks
again?
like.
It's-
No, you never played the
The
concert.
Fortnite concert? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you never played it.
He was playing it for like a minute and a half.
No,
you
but
blind?
the concert hadn't started. He was just playing them walking around.
I skipped throughout it.
He
Do it again. Do it quickly. I wasn't paying attention.
Evan wants to be a part of the
I was
concert.
too
He wants to
engrossed in
feel
our
like he was there.
conversation.
All right.
Like I don't
Alright.
like. I guess I didn't send Peter that link and like and ask him to show it because I thought it was
Which
a
link?
terrible the Star Wars thing.
Oh.
That it was a terrible thing. I am actually super fascinated by it. Like
it's Fortnite's just taking it to the next level, right?
Yeah.
Like they're literally like making video games like a viable medium to advertise in.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because like I remember in driving around and are they all doing their own emotes or is the
Yeah, they're all doing their own emotes. This is from Marshmallow from like, so this is like an edited, but all these are real players with their own perspectives. The last video had like from a view, just some one guy's perspective. Yeah, like there you
Wow.
go.
That's
all
insane.
happening live. Yeah.
That's so weird.
yeah.
That's so weird.
Don't
But
doubt how,
they
like-
definitely are. They can't kill each other because they all have their hammers out. So,
Yeah,
Or whatever
exactly.
their pickaxes out.
Yeah, I would be actually really fascinated if. Well, actually, no. It looks like it's because now people are gliding down. It actually kind of looks like it's just like an ongoing thing that happens for a while, and your games like you can go straight to the concert or you can just play the rest of the game. Like how sick would it be to just be like elsewhere on the Fortnite map and just hear like marshmallow music and like big strobe lights in the distance
Oh,
while you're
yeah.
trying to shoot people?
I
Like
now
it's
know
just
how
such a
I'm gonna-
fascinating concept.
I now know how I'm gonna win my first game of Fortnite.
I'm
gonna go camp
the
there.
Star Wars premiere.
until everyone else has killed off people. Then I'm hopefully gonna be able to kill some people here, or I'll box in the concert area so they can't break
But like,
it.
Marshmallow's not actually doing this. It's just an avatar
recording,
that looks
yeah.
like him doing
Yeah.
it. So,
It's
I
a
mean,
recording of the
Oh
songs.
yeah. It's a pre-rendered thing within the game that Fortnite probably set up. So it's very ingenuine in the way that they're describing it as a concert, and that's the furthest thing from what it really is.
But it really is interesting because like I remember back in playing Saints Row 2, and Saints Row 2 would, if I remember correctly, they would actually take real advertisements and put them into the game.
Yeah.
And they'd cycle through them, like they'd update them every so often. And I always thought that was like really cool, but also like it's a little weird. Like it's Black Mirror, right? It's the idea that one day we might not be able to get away from any influence from like brands or companies at all.
I feel like you
even when
already
we
can.
close our eyes,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, within games, it's implemented from what I've seen pretty tastefully. Like, for example, if you play FIFA, those kind of light up boards that go around the kind of the soccer field that you can see if you're kind of playing in the top down perspective that they usually do it in. They'll come up with ads for like the FIFA Twitch channel, like a bunch of Twitch icons will show up and then they'll like move to the side and then the text for a Twitch channel related to EA or FIFA or something will come up. And so like as long as they're implemented in a good way, like I'm kind of imagining a dystopian future when you're playing a game and you reach a certain area, instead of getting a loading screen, you get a mid-roll ad.
Yeah,
I would smash my
that's
console.
where it's kind of like, should video games be allowed to put advertisements in their games when you're paying for the game? Because they're making more money off it.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Even if it's something like this, like Fortnite made a bunch of money, or Marshmallow made a bunch of money. Oh, someone made money. Someone made a,
They
someone
would
made
have.
a
They
crap
would have
ton of
both
money.
made money. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fortnite
absolutely.
used Marshmallow to draw in people. Marshmallow got paid to do it.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
but like they're using you, even though, well, I guess Fortnite's different because you don't pay for Fortnite. But like if it was if it was like Civilization or something, and then all of a sudden like we're
A marshmallow concert in
Yeah.
the middle of Civilization. You're like, yeah.
the touring band, they cycle it out so it's Marshmallow or something like.
That's awesome.
In some ways, it's like cool DLC. Like now that Snoop Dogg, they have Snoop Dogg coming in for another more voiceover work
In
for,
COD?
No, for NHL 20.
Oh.
They're gonna have Snoop Dogg as one of the announcers for it, which I think is pretty funny. But like at the same time, that's advertisement for Snoop Dogg, and that's advertising for real life brands inside a media that you already paid for. So like they're making more money off of you. So I guess you could argue like, hey, why don't you make this free if you're putting advertisement in it? Like, why am I paying you money for you to make more money off of it?
So Snoop Dogg's actually already in it. It just got updated.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah. I would be willing to assume that there's probably some laws in place for video games that prevent ads to a very blatant degree from being included in there. Because from what I've learned from one of my communication classes this semester, there are actually a lot of kind of media-based regulations when children are involved. Like, for example, we were studying an article about like how food advertising is kind of approached to kids, because like they're given really strict restrictions, sorry, but then they have to find kind of sneaky ways to work around them to still be able to advertise things in the best way. And so some examples are like how in Nesquik ads there's like a swimming pool full of chocolate milk with like whatever the avatar's name is like swimming around it and stuff like that. So it's like encouraging you to drink as much as possible because it's like an unreasonable portion size and stuff like that. Like it's all very fascinating. I really like learning.
Well,
about that stuff.
cereals are always required to say part of a nutritious breakfast.
Exactly.
They
Even if
can't
they're
just
not.
say it is breakfast.
And they'll also, in a lot of types of cereals, they'll put like strawberries in the bowl and like put like little decorations around to make it appear more healthy.
Yeah, but like with that, like advertising, especially in the video game realm, it's lawless, man. It doesn't matter what restrictions there are. Look at Destiny. Look at Fortnite. Like this is loot boxes are gambling. It's gambling, and kids are doing it and spending tons of money on it.
People are starting to acknowledge it, and I think in the next couple of years we absolutely will see like, you know, Congress talking about these things. I think in some cases they already have like deliberated on it.
In Australia, I think it is, or maybe
Australia is ahead of the
weren't they
like
banned or something?
Australia is crazy when it comes
Like,
to
they
video
are.
games.
They are very strict with that
But
kind
it
of
is
stuff.
completely deregulated as far as I know, as far as advertising goes, because, you know, think about how here in Canada we have always grown up had those like advertisements between TV shows like concerned children's advertisers and stuff like that, talking about how you've got to be honest, and there's like certain things. The U.S. Put forward like the ESRB rating system for video games, which falls over into Canada. They have the PEGI system, I think, over in Europe.
Yeah, you're at Peggy 19.
Yeah, exactly.
Peggy 3.
Yeah. So it all depends. Like back in the 80s and 90s, I think there were big things about how you could advertise like music to kids and stuff like that. I remember watching like testimonies to Congress from like Frank Zappa, I think, and stuff like that about, you know, what should and shouldn't be allowed for your kids to like listen to music wise, because there was a lot of that big part of the 80s and like the moral panic of the decade and stuff like that. We're probably going to see similar stuff coming on in the future about like, can you advertise to kids and like let children gamble in video games?
Yeah.
And the answer, I think,
Absolutely should be no.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see what happens, right? I think it is something that's going to happen in the future. I don't know. It's a weird world going into the rest of the digital age here.
I think it's gonna happen more when more of this like the current gaming generation comes to age, because boomers don't get video games.
They
Still,
don't.
like,
Why are we
like, they're
watching
still all caught up on the fact that like it's the same argument, like video games cause violence, and they don't see how like that's such a horrible
how wrong it is.
argument, but also like that's like the red herring when all this other concerning things that is actually affecting people and causing people to like accidentally drain their parents' bank accounts or get addicted and like live a poor lifestyle. All these things are happening and they just won't look at it because they're like, well, violence is bad in video games. Sorry. Like,
it's part of the generation that they were raised in because, you know, their whole thing was like, well, how much violence can we show on television? Oh, we might have to scale it back. It was like, oh, is Looney Tunes bad? Oh, it's like, okay, well now violence is okay, but we can't show titties.
yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not allowed.
And if I were to put myself in like their shoes, like having like, because every step forward in humanity, we've never been there before, right? Like we don't know what's gonna come out from it. I can totally see how a whole generation saw violence on television and thought like, what is this gonna do to like our children? Like, what if they see this and they think that this is okay? Like, I can see there being actual concern because it's never happened in the history of humanity. There's never been that much access to seeing violence before. So I get the argument, but it's already been proven that it doesn't do anything to you. So like, or it
fear.
doesn't do anything crazy.
I would counter that. I would say, because I feel like a lot of old civilizations, yes, they didn't have access to it electronically because there was no electronic then, but
People are dying.
there's a lot of civilizations that were constantly at war through ancient times. And I feel like that's yes, in the more contemporary period or even modern period, it's more of like a, ooh, what can we show? But there is definitely a switch before that was like,
when all of life was a real-time strategy game.
yeah, basically.
all of life was. But I like when you're coming to things where definitely like no child like or no person even was constantly like seeing violence happen but not feeling the violence or physically like being part of it.
Like, there's some bad things that go on in the world.
Yeah, I know that. Okay, that's
There-
why I was.
I
That's
can-
why I went very slow with that sentence because, like, and that's not what I'm arguing, Jarrod. I know what you're trying to go
No,
for.
I just
but,
want to
like,
make sure that when we're making a statement like that, we are correct in saying that because I don't think this is the most easiest access to violence.
No, I know. I'm just saying I can understand that because with any new thing that sweeps across humanity and is becomes a constant in people's life, there is a concern that we've never experienced this before. What is going to happen?
Drew has a good point. Yeah, he says it definitely introduces younger children to addiction. However, on the other hand, their brains are also introduced to decision-making and communication skills earlier.
Yeah.
Like, pros and cons.
Like, I mean, like, if all of a sudden it became like a huge thing, and I know this is outlandish, but like that every middle school decided that, or all these middle school kids decided that they wanted to start deadlifting. And it was across the nation, every kid was now all of a sudden going to the gym. I know it's crazy. I know this is a stupid scenario, but they're all going to the gym now. They're all deadlifting weights, and they're getting shredded.
We
Okay,
have a thumbnail for the podcast.
Is that your perception of deadlifting? Is that it gets you absolutely
No leg days.
Okay, but anyways, don't pick it apart because I know it's ridiculous. There would be a concern. What the heck is going to happen to that generation when they're 50, or what is going to happen to them as they enter their 20s now that they've now all of a sudden at an early stage in their development, they're all deadlifting. Like, it's never happened in human history before that all these kids are deadlifting all of a sudden. What is going to be the outcomes of it? Or this, okay, a better, like this vaping thing. Like,
Yeah, I was about to-
everyone's
Okay, I was gonna
vaping
say,
now.
Let's not go because
Okay, I'm not trying to. I'm not. You're.
He's not trying to make a good argument. He's just trying to make an argument.
No, Jared, you're responding to me like I'm saying.
Jared hasn't
I'm making,
responded. Jared's been sitting there
No,
for the past
no.
2
Listen,
minutes.
listen,
not saying
Okay,
anything.
can you just let me
I
get
just-
I'm just trying to get the point across of what I'm trying to make. Is that, like, I'm not trying to make any concrete saying like this is how it is. This is how humanity works. I'm just saying that I can see how people can come to these conclusions and society as a whole can be afraid of something because like the vaping thing, when something is introduced that quickly into society and on a mass scale and we don't have any idea because it's never happened before, we don't know what the effects of that are going to be, it's going to lead to people being afraid of what those effects might be. That's the point I'm making.
Fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
That is generally how moral panics have been coming to be for a while, and surrounding media there is so prevalent because there's a lot of uncertainty with media. You know, like we kind of brought it up briefly earlier. When television became a thing, the concerns were like, how much is too much television? What are we letting our kids watch on television? Like whenever there's a new medium and there's uncertainty around that medium, it becomes really like it comes under crazy scrutiny. And it's only when, you know, lawmakers and people that have that influence put in even just one small regulation, and all of a sudden everyone's just like, oh, okay, it's okay, we're good now.
Yeah, because like television, good example. Like, what's going to happen to our whole generation now that they're watching television? I'm like books. There was probably concern about when books started becoming across. It's like, oh, what's gonna happen to this generation now that they're, instead of experiencing the world as it is, they're now fantasizing about something else. What is that going to do to their heads?
When books were introduced, they were still trying to worry about what they're going to do to survive the night. No mind what's books going to do to our civilization.
That's not like what I'm going for. Like, obviously there's concerns.
But just listen, I get what you're trying to do is make an argument. But if you're going to make an argument, then use a good topic to make an argument with. Right, because you're trying to
any new introduction across society.
There's
concern for it.
I will help Evan strengthen his point by using some real world scenarios that have happened. In the 1980s, there was something called the Satanic Panic that applied to a lot of various forms of media. The big one that I've been exposed to the past couple years, just through my interest, is Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm a big fan of. Was a huge target during this Satanic Panic. Dungeons and Dragons is completely harmless. It is about you getting together with friends and rolling up, you know, some characters and rolling dice and fighting monsters in your imagination. But, you know, suburban mothers and fathers of the time saw this, and there was a case where a couple kids committed suicide and they played Dungeons and Dragons. So obviously it was Satan who, you know, got into their wizard character and, you know, got into their head, right? And that was a big problem in the 80s, and people were like, we just don't know how we're going to do this. Well, we have to start burning these Dungeons and Dragons books. We need to get these out of here, right? You can make this same sweeping assumption about so many different things for so many different generations that are just completely not true.
Yeah, it happened with like rock and roll music.
Absolutely,
like Harry Potter. It happened with
what? Really? Harry Potter?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What did people think about Harry Potter?
It's witchcraft.
Yeah.
So they just automatically assume that, like, oh, you're reading about sorcery now, like it's gonna taint you. The devil's like,
yeah, but
witchcraft is gonna take over.
A more even modern issue that's kind of contending with that is the whole inclusion stuff. Like a lot of the LGBTQ, you have a lot of earlier generations that are saying, "Oh my God, this is what's happening."
What's gonna happen to our what's gonna happen to the men of society now that this
so
is
it's
happening.
a little bit more of a
nicer people.
a little bit more of like a contemporary look at I knew what you were trying to say. I'm just saying you like an example like that will get it across to people more than just using a topic because not I would disagree. Not everything that's introduced into a civilization causes a mass panic.
I'm not saying that it causes a mass panic. I'm just saying that because you have no idea how something introduced that widespread is going to affect people, that I can see how there would be panic for anything. You don't know what the results are going to be.
Fair enough.
And it's just somehow society decides what to be afraid of and what not to.
I think just what Jarrod's going at is if you're going to use a historical, illusion to try and sell your point, you should make it historically accurate.
And the only reason, and this is just coming from my industry, because I read a lot of research papers in the health field. So the two topics you decided to bring up, which were vaping and deadlifting,
deadlifting was an outlandish example.
No, I knew that was an outlandish example, but
don't focus on that.
I just have huge evidence, and I don't want to make it as come across to people like
that's what.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
All right, parents,
make
sure you don't let your kids deadlift.
I know. I was putting myself in the shoes and seeing how someone who has never observed this before would react to something.
I know
they've never seen before.
I'm just saying, you got to be careful because this is like, again, using a historical context, something that's happened before as a great example is good, but using current issue that's maybe like, I don't know. Either way, I have counter arguments, and it was just I wanted to say my counter arguments because I have counter arguments.
And
too.
you brought up deadlifting, and I know firsthand for an absolute fact that Jarrod knows a lot about deadlifting.
Absolutely.
And Jarrod, what do you think about kids deadlifting? If you went to the gym tomorrow and it was like a freaking nursery in there all of a sudden, and there's all the kids were fighting to get to the deadlift platform first, and then there's like one kid with giant biceps who's just absolutely just driving those deadlifts home. How would you feel?
I would personally be concerned about their form because, you know, if deadlifting becomes the next big thing, then they could seriously do damage to themselves over time if they're not, you know, adequately trained in how to deadlift.
So that's the thing with fitness. And that's the argument I would make, is that as long as you're doing it properly, and yes, okay, you don't want some 8-year-old deadlifting.
Are you sure?
Like you don't want them to be. You don't want people that are still don't have sealed growth plates to be pushing a 1 RM that could damage those growth plates. But as long as your form's good, as long as you are being smart about it, you listen to your body, you're not going to cause any issues with your body. So I mean, I train a lot of young athletes. I don't see any issues with it as long as you're being smart about it. It's like anything. You can have a 85-year-old man that's deadlifting. That is, if he's doing it properly, it's going to do wonders because hamstring flexibility and hamstring strength is something that lacks in our modern day society.
Yeah. Whereas with vaping, you probably don't want your children to have a nicotine addiction when they're 13.
Well, that and as much as people have that huge argument back and forth of this does this doesn't do this, their popcorn lung is a serious thing. Like that's an issue, and that's putting heated vapor inside your alveoli. Your alveoli are meant to sit at a certain temperature. And that's what people are arguing. Anything being put in your lungs is not good to put in your lungs unless it's oxygen. Like literally, there is nothing you can put in there that is good for your lungs, that is going to be beneficial, that is not going to harm them besides oxygen. Because it's.
What if I have an inhaler?
Yeah, well, does that hurt?
But inhalers don't necessarily act the same way because now you're talking about a medication. Sorry, I guess I should rephrase myself. Good point.
All right.
I'll rephrase myself. Anything that's not medication that is meant to heal the alveoli or help your body react to something and is not oxygen, you shouldn't put in your lungs. That's essentially that's where I would stand on that one.
That's a good blanket statement. I like that. I can agree to that.
And that is the general principle from what I've heard too, because like a bit of a weird example, but like even people kind of debate like how smoking like pot kind of levels on like is it as bad as cigarettes or is it not harmful to your lungs at all? Like if it's going in your lungs, it's just not going to be good because it's going to leave something in there, right?
Well, even like when you have smoke sitting in your gums aren't meant to have certain things. Like your tissues in your body aren't meant to have if they're inside your body, they're not meant to have a lot of contact with a bunch of different shit. Like it's not like I can hold lead and I can probably hold some other stuff, but if I start eating lead inside my body, it's not going to do very good inside my body. Like it's just it's the whole persona behind people trying to defend something where it's like everyone can generally agree that putting something that was not meant to go inside your body is probably not good to put inside your body. And yet we always have these arguments where it's like, oh, again, like you said, weed's better than smoking cigarettes. It's like, okay, there are different impacts. Like there's different impacts of different things. So they're different substances. It's not it's a different effect. So it's hard you can't really compare those two. Yes, you're smoking something, but the same thing, you can't compare vaping to smoking because vaping is heated water and smoking is actual burnt CO2 and other various components that should definitely not go inside your body. But again, heated water is not like if you have a controlled environment, you put heated water inside, vapored water inside your lungs, it will destroy the tissues in your lungs. It does not matter. It does not matter what it is. It's the same thing. Heated air, like a very hot air going into your lungs. It's like if you take hot boiling water and you drink it, you're gonna scald the inside of your throat. So
don't do that, by the way.
So don't do that. That's a horrible idea. But it's just all these.
Next thing we're gonna see next week is like all of the Gen Z kids are like, that's the next big challenge: drinking a cup of boiling water challenge.
I'm pretty sure that might have already happened.
Can't be any
I'm pretty
worse
sure
than
there
the
might.
I feel like if there's a
that
stupid
did happen.
I think if there's a stupid challenge
Google
to be
it, Peter.
done, it's probably
wanna
at
see
least been
that.
done by one person.
So just Google if it was a thing, because I think
Boiling
What,
water.
drinking boiling water? What do you want?
I don't know if we want to have
just
that video.
say the
on
boiling water drinking challenge. Just see what comes up. I'm just curious. I'm
It's gonna be like a
I've
Mr.
heard
Beast
something
video.
about
Let's
it.
start the just drinking water challenge where you have to drink a certain amount of ounces per day.
We're gonna start like some wholesome challenges for the
Yes.
young kids.
Of course, Jarrod would.
living a healthy lifestyle challenge.
Welcome to my drinking water challenge. Watch me guzzle this whole bottle in one drink.
Eat a bag of baby carrots challenge. I don't know if I can get through this entire bag of baby carrots.
Welcome to our gratitude challenge. Write 5 things you're grateful for today.
Man, I have been thoroughly enjoying this conversation, but sadly, we've come to the time to end it.
God, there's so many other things that I wanted to like add on to like so many different topics we touched on there, but
As Ilgaki said, that they just want to point out that we went from talking about bananas taped to walls to talking about our lungs.
we're not as far as podcasts go. This one is not like we're not tunnel visioned at all. We are like we got the whole world.
We're
to
free
look at.
flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we spent the whole time, or at least the beginning of it, talking about a banana and art. And none of us are experts on modern art.
You know, one thing I was
Well,
thinking
maybe
about.
Evan.
Well, I always. One thing I was thinking about when Jarrod was talking about, things that you put inside yourself. Just stop. Rule 1: kids at home, everyone. If you're gonna put it inside you, make sure it has a flanged base. All right. That's all I gotta say.
Is that an engineering joke that I'm not going to understand unless you explain it to me?
No, it's a safe. Don't stick things up inside you that you can't pull back out. No, it wasn't a joke. That's literally the rule. All right. Well,
Evan,
everyone picks apart.
Drew enjoyed
everything I
that
tried
joke,
to
Evan.
I'm
You
done
said,
with
you
the
said the word
podcast.
flange, and I was like, that's an engineer thing.
No, it's not an engineer thing.
It's a word none of us have heard before, therefore
Do
engineering
you want me to
concept.
not be coy about it? If you have dildos, don't just stick it inside you unless it has a base that's bigger than the hole you're putting it in. There.
That's why there's not.
Oh, that answers so many questions.
All right. On that note, thank you guys for tuning in to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed our conversations as much as we did. It was a good one.
It was
The chat all enjoyed your joke, Evan. Just so you know.
At least someone did.
I'm happy.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
It's Sunday, yes. We'll
And
see you
in the
Tuesday for
meantime-
the Civilization stream.
Make sure you drink lots of water.
See you later, Live Connection.
See you guys.